and one of my friends was like, "Oh yeah, I really want to try that. I I've never slapped anyone."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, this is a perfect opportunity. I'm available."
Such a lovely instigator. Please continue.
So there's like five of us, and it we're just like slapping each other, but in a very connected way. Like
Hmm.
we're like being present and then like caressing. She's like caressing my face and looking me in the eyes and then slapping me and then caressing me. And it was so loving.
Hello, everyone. I am your host, Lion, and I want to remind you that you have the power to quiet your mind. Vipassana is one tool and one form of meditation that is very well known around the world. It is a donation based 10-day silent meditation retreat where your life is planned and all your needs taken care of. As part of this journey, you set the intention to go deep within yourself to explore how your mind wanders and practice refocusing it through the course of multiple meditative sits, both communally and in solitude. Most people find it quite challenging and maddening. Please join me as we learn from Kyle how he endured and persevered through his intense journey. Today, episode 30, will be the first time that we are doing an interview in person. And I'm so excited to have Kyle, my friend, here to share more about his journey to and through Vipassana. So, Kyle, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I have had an eventful day so far. Transformation, people coming through the house. Excited for this interview.
Hell yeah. So, with that, I'd love to begin by you sharing with the audience the story of how you and I met.
Yeah. Okay, so we were at this event called the Underbelly, which
Mhm.
you volunteer for,
Yes.
and it's an event where people get really slow and get to reconnect with themselves and slow down in this fast-paced world. There's a container for it.
Mhm.
And at the end of it, we were hanging out and somehow we got into this discussion of the the joys of slapping people.
Mhm.
And 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 one of my friends was like, "Oh yeah, I really want to try that. I've never slapped anyone."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, this is a perfect opportunity. I'm available."
Such a lovely instigator. Please continue.
So there's like five of us, and it we're just like slapping each other, but in a very connected way. Like
Mhm.
we're like being present and then like caressing. She's like caressing my face and looking me in the eyes and then slapping me and then caressing me. And it was so loving.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of hanging out on the couch waiting for us to leave, maybe.
I was having a good time. I was reading my book, but I was also enjoying the spectacle
Yeah.
from the corner of my eye, or my ears more so.
And then somehow we got you involved.
Yep.
I just remember somebody. sitting on top of you while you're on the couch,
straddling me.
straddling you. Yeah.
Yeah, Berkeley, wild place, y'all. Wild place. So thank you for sharing that, Kyle. I really appreciate it. If you're okay with it, I'd love to give the audience a brief intro about you to set the stage.
Yeah.
How does that sound?
Great.
Thank you. So Kyle is in his mid-30s, is a software engineer by training, as well as an entrepreneur and startup founder by experience. He has been a student of meditation for the last 3 or so years and very serious about personal development. He has also studied sacred sexuality through ISTA, which stands for International School of Temple Arts, in case you want to look them up, and is currently in the process of building his coaching practice as well as an app. He recently decided to dive into a 10-day Vipassana retreat, also known as a silent meditation retreat. And we will hope to better understand that experience and share some of the gems that he so painstakingly uncovered. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that, in case I missed anything?
That was great.
Thank you. Thank you. So, to begin, Kyle, can you tell us, the audience, the story of when you were 25, having achieved some success, right? Being done with software, right? And being more awoken to your love of music, right? But not being able to be present with the commitment you decided to take on. So if you could paint us a picture of your trials and tribulations as you were walking the path of your dreams.
Yeah. I mean, it started with success.
Mm-hmm.
The American dream is instilled in us as Westerners all of our life. There's this idea of climb the ladder of success, and at the top of the ladder, you can have a life you want.
Mm-hmm.
And they paint this picture of the life you want, living on the beach, of pursuing your dreams, of painting or making music, or starting a company on the side as a hobby. And in my early 20s, I felt like I had kind of won the game.
Mm-hmm.
I sold my first company, and for the first time, didn't feel like I was climbing the ladder anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like, basically, I was like, okay, so what now?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be doing this anymore. And this feeling of I don't want to be doing this anymore evolved. So first it was like, oh yeah, okay, so it's the like I had this deep sense of like this isn't how I want to spend my time.
Yeah.
And at first it was like, oh yeah, because I'm of course not, because I'm just building these like websites that don't mean anything, or these back-end systems that aren't connected to how I want to connect to the world. I'm like connecting with a computer and building things for other people to connect to computers. And so I basically was like, okay, I'm gonna find some other passion in life. I'm gonna find a new life.
Mm-hmm.
And I got rid of 90% of my stuff, like put it in a pile.
Wow.
And just gave it away.
Mm.
and moved into a backpack
mm,
and flew to Central America. And I traveled from Mexico to Panama over the course of 3 months,
mm,
traveling from festivals, living on beaches. I was
mm.
basically like, it kind of like there's this line of thinking of, oh, what would you do if you had a bunch of money?
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
I didn't necessarily have a bunch of money, but
yeah,
I had completed the like success games in this
yeah,
way that I decided, well, why don't I just skip having a ton of money? Anyway, I
yeah,
have enough where I can travel now
yeah,
and just go to the thing that is what would I do when I have a bunch of money, which at the time was, oh, I'd live on the beach and go to festivals.
yeah,
And I was living on the beach and I was like, wait, like, what now? Like, is this it?
yeah,
And I found myself deeply unfulfilled. It was like I had traded one sense of fulfillment for another,
mm,
but I wasn't getting both. So I didn't have the intellectual fulfillment, the creation, which I didn't realize how important that was for me while I was a software engineer.
the intellectual fulfillment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And being able to create something.
yeah,
But when I was a software engineer, I didn't have the life fulfillment
yeah,
and the like slowing down and the enjoyment of beauty. And so I traded one for the other.
mm,
And I found that sitting on the beach, I didn't have this, I still didn't feel fulfilled. I was like, wait, I'm missing something. I want, and so it's like that feeling of I want to be doing something else evolved into this like an unsettled like, oh, I can't just sit here on the beach. Like I need to be doing something. So I went back to San Francisco and I posted on Facebook, hey, I'll learn anything for it. Like I'll give you a week free labor if you're teaching me a skill.
mm.
And my friend who was working on an art project was like, hey, come join us and I'll teach you how to weld.
Wow,
So I got into sculpture art that way.
okay.
And I went to Coachella, Burning Man with this art piece. It's like 50-foot light sculpture with LEDs and software to control it. That was all custom design. Yeah, it
Whoa,
was super cool. I was like, oh, okay, this is how I can use programming to like create something in the real world that I
yeah,
feel
yeah,
connected with. And
wow,
yeah, and like around that same time, I also got into music and I was like,
yeah,
this is another creation. Like, oh, I need to be creating something, but it needs to be passion
yeah,
driven, not kind of like startup change the world, build tech
yeah,
to, hook a bunch of people. So I went to music production school, electronic music production school.
yeah,
And I was finding that in both cases, like when I was on the team, when I was on a team of people working on an art piece, it was great. I was super in. But then when I took that idea and I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna make art, I'm gonna make sculptures, and I'd sit down and try to make something. And when I was by myself, I still had this. It was like doing my passion, but I still had this feeling of like, ah, oh, that's unsettled. I doing something else, and I started. But with music, the same thing happened. And I was like, I created a couple songs through the school.
mm,
They had us do projects. And I was like in my bedroom, I had learned the tools and had the gear.
mm,
And I was, it was like, this is what I've been striving for
yeah,
is this, I'm creating something now. It's a passion. I love music so much.
yeah,
And I was finding myself feeling like there was something missing still, and I wasn't really like able to just fall into the flow of the creation process that I had dreamed about, had in my mind that it would just happen because I love music so much.
mm,
And it was like this unsettled, like, oh, I could be doing something else. I'm like, where's that coming from? Even the pinnacle, I had like kind of like reached these pinnacles
Yeah.
of like pinnacle of business and creating startups, and then this pinnacle of relaxation and living on the beach, and then this pinnacle of passionate creation,
Hmm.
and still having this feeling of what's something's missing, or I
Hmm.
don't feel like I can just surrender into this process and be happy here.
Hmm.
It's like, how could I not be happy creating music? But, you know, I didn't understand it at the time.
Yeah. You know, thank you so much for sharing that. Earlier on in this story, you mentioned living out your dream life of a beach bum.
Yeah,
And it's interesting because I'd love for you to build on that a little bit for the audience and share how, similarly, when you were feeling challenged, but discovering ADD medication, right? And what was that ADD medication able to do for you? You're wandering down Central America. And yeah, how did you discover it? What did it, what did you feel and what did you get out of it?
yeah. So my first encounter with it was Adderall,
Okay.
and this was actually my first encounter was before I ended up traveling that first time,
Okay.
and it was on this journey of trying to trying to solve this unsettled feeling within me. Like, why am I not happy doing this?
Hmm.
And I was working for a friend's startup, and it was kind of like um, almost like a performance enhancing experiment. And I found that even though I was at this phase where I was sort of not really feeling software engineering anymore, I was able to take Adderall. And for the afternoon, it was the most interesting thing I could be doing.
Mm.
So like, somehow it hacked my reward system.
Yeah.
And then so that was just a taste because I was just getting from somebody else's prescription.
Yeah.
And then so I went traveling and coming back and working on that art piece
Hmm.
again. Um, work the one where this guy was teaching me how to weld. There was somebody on the project who had a prescription and gave me some, and then it was like, man, working on this art piece was the most interesting thing in the world
Focus.
for an afternoon.
Yeah.
And there was these kind of like breadcrumbs of like, there's something about medication that could solve this. And I
Yeah.
wasn't putting all my eggs in one basket yet. I was like, well, I would really like to solve it on a lifestyle level
Hmm.
rather than what I thought might be just like paving over a problem.
Hmm.
Because I could like make myself enjoy work or whatever I'm doing. I was like, am I really solving the problem? What if there's some wisdom in there? And ultimately, what ended up happening is I had a few cycles and of traveling, coming back and working on projects,
Hmm.
traveling. Each time trying to part of what I was doing in Central America was I thought maybe I would find a community or another
Hmm.
place to live, just a completely new life
Hmm.
that I would just fall in love with, and life would be great and I'd be happy. And I didn't know what was going to happen. I was just like, I'm going to throw myself into the wind.
Mm-hmm.
And I eventually, coming back, one of these trips, I had gone to Australia for 2 months. Lived in a
Nice.
van, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I was with a partner,
Okay.
and then we split.
Yeah.
And so I went back to San Francisco. I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
And I fell into a 3 month deep depression. Was living in a
Mm.
basement, didn't have any windows, didn't have a social group because I hadn't been in San Francisco
Mm-hmm.
for a couple years at that point. And I was super deep in this depression, which seemed all of it seemed related. You know, what could I be spending my time on? Something to fulfill me.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for something out there, thinking that, oh, if I set up the right environment or I have the right job or I'm spending my time in a certain way, that'll solve this issue.
Mm-hmm.
And in the depression, it just got deeper and deeper. And eventually I sought psychiatric help
Mm.
and got on got diagnosed with ADD
Mm.
and got prescribed my own prescription of Adderall and tried some other medications as well for the depression, Wellbutrin,
Mm.
and yeah, it.
Bless you.
I mean, the thing is, it worked.
Yeah.
Like the medication worked. My life just got better, and that's when I started 2 art companies in a row.
Mm.
The first was with some friends, and we were building massive art pieces for touring acts and
Wow.
festivals and sculptures for cities.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I started a smaller business because I wanted more creative control and was building smaller pieces. And these are all tech art.
Okay.
It's just like physical structures that have LEDs and wires and software to control the programming, the lighting of it. It's like this
Nice.
fusion of my skills from the past
Yeah.
into this like new creative outlet.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. But then you did that for a few years, right?
Yeah.
Like you were relying on these very important aids. So tell us the story of how you resolved to stop taking the ADD medication after quite a few years. I think when we were chatting, I think it was anywhere from like 5 to 7 years that you were, depending on it. So tell us the story of what happened, what led you for you to say, you know, I'm
Yeah.
seeking out a new path.
Yeah. Totally. It was about 7 years,
Okay.
and I had done several companies, and it was a great way to turn myself into a machine.
Mm.
It wasn't life balance, but I would go to work, I'd be super productive, I'd enjoy, I'd have this like really strong satisfaction in the intellectual part of me, the creative problem solving, the engineering part of me.
Yeah.
And I would come home and I would decompress by it, watching an episode of something and eating food that just like comfort food essentially.
Yeah.
For me, it was Indian.
Okay.
Indian food was my comfort.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I would cycle between those phases, and then if I could go to some weekend event or something once a month, then that would solve my social needs. But I felt like a machine. I didn't feel holistic. And during the pandemic was when it really came to a head. The city had shut down, of course, but there were homeless people living for several blocks out from my building.
Really?
Yeah, they had installed porta potties
Okay.
right outside my building for it, and there were rows of tents. And this is a place that prior to the pandemic, there'd be people who were living on the streets there with, shooting up heroin or whatever. So there were needles on the streets. It was not a great area before the pandemic, and then it just became their permanent home, or people's permanent homes. Like they
Yeah.
were, I don't know how many people were living like on those blocks. There were a lot, and people were living in the parks now
Mm.
that I would normally go to nearby within walking distance. And for me, it was just like, wow, I gotta get out of here. This is not healthy. Something's not healthy. And previously it had been something about my work-life balance is not necessarily healthy, even though I'm really productive and that part of my life is great, but something's missing and I didn't really know what it was. But
Mm-hmm.
then it was like the whole city felt unhealthy.
Mm.
And not just because of the pandemic, but it was like the response to the pandemic and then it kind of felt like the city imploded
Mm.
and you could really see the cracks coming out. It's like, oh, we can't handle this like all these people living on the street, and we don't
Mm.
have systems for helping people in a crisis like this. So I moved to Hawaii.
Mm.
I was like, I'm gonna get it here. Yeah, I moved to Big Island with some friends.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and we made it work. I mean, I still had a remote job
Uh,
in San Francisco, but everything was remote at that time anyways.
yeah.
And we were set. We had like three internets because of how unreliable things were. Where so I was on Big Island, and this is in the middle of lava zones.
Wow.
So there's no infrastructure. There's very little infrastructure. You have to have water catchment, for example, in your own septic tank. And internet is dish.
Oh, okay.
Well, there is power because they can run
Yeah.
power lines down the street. So that's the thing that apparently they care about most is roads and power. Those are the first things to go up. But there was no water and there was no sewage and there was no internet. So you're kind of like on your own in each home.
Yeah.
A lot of places are homesteads out there. They're just completely off the grid.
Wow.
So ours was like
Yeah.
partially on the grid. And I'm out there and I'm just in paradise.
Yeah.
And COVID doesn't really exist. Part of like the people living there, most of them didn't believe it even was a thing at all. And not only that, but the actual way it spread because the climate was so perfect,
Mm-hmm.
and most of the establishment situations are outside. Even
Mm-hmm.
residences, a lot of them are outside.
Yeah.
So there's actually a much less chance of getting it at all.
Yeah.
So we felt safe knowing knowing a lot more
Yeah.
than kind of like the people. Well, they were like, a lot of people were hippies, I guess, if I was to like
Mm.
characterize them. Um, Coming from San Francisco, we were kind of more in like a scientific mindset. We, oh, research stuff, trust some of this research. So um, I, I felt like, yeah, basically, um, I was living in paradise, right?
Yeah.
I was going to ecstatic dances. They have this beautiful 100-person ecstatic dance.
Wow.
At the time, it was much smaller
Yeah.
because it was just invite only. And in the jungle, it's where the jungle meets the lava meets the ocean.
Wow. Okay.
And I just felt fulfilled. There was a part of me that felt at home and at peace.
Yeah.
And I started getting introduced to meditation
Mm.
and personal development work. I didn't even know that you could treat your body and your psychology like I treat a computer.
Mm.
Like I could become an engineer, scientist, and like, oh, okay, like what's going on in here?
Mm-hmm.
And you could do that to the physical stuff, but I didn't know you could do it to the psychological in like a pattern level, like how I interact with people. So I had discovered this whole new world.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, it's time to go back to like it was this perfect
Yeah.
breeding ground for revisiting my life
Yeah.
and saying like, okay, I think I want to go off of this previous medication that turned me into a machine, and
Yeah.
I want to live in nature, and I want to see if I can revisit this problem from a decade before,
Yeah.
and and use meditation, personal this personal development stuff that I didn't know really what was in there yet, but I was excited about it. New environment of just being in the jungle slash beach, like
Mm.
island jungle beach, and that kind of started out. I also had a really successful end to the company I was working at.
Mm.
I completed a project that I had said I would join this company to work on this project. So it kind of just all fell into place at once, and I just let go of the medication that I was taking, and
Mm.
with this like trust that I'll figure out something.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know what I was going to figure out yet.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm so glad that you said with this trust because I think any logical, level-headed person would think about the chemical dependency within one's mind and physiology, right? So I'm glad you said that because I think it highlights an important point to our audience that it wasn't just a impulsive decision, right? You did consider that, and you, as a result of this new world that you were being exposed to, and probably other people's stories as well,
Yeah,
that you to take this leap of faith. Amazing. So let's fast forward a bit, shall we? Present day, and you feel called to do the Vipassana meditation. You're in a rural meditation center in Northern California. It's in the middle of the goddamn winter. And it's 12 days total, but 10 full freaking days. So let's start with you helping us understand the high level breakdown of the first 3 days and the rest of the days. And I think it was two primary types of meditation. If you could sort of paint us a picture of that.
yeah. So it's actually three types.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and yeah, it was in Northern California. I hadn't done anything like that before.
Uh-huh.
I'd done a half day meditation, and I had done an hour, 2 hours here and there. There was a summer where I was doing an hour a day, usually, but mostly I was doing 10 to 20 minutes a day
Yeah.
for the past couple of years. And so this is a huge milestone for me. I I didn't exactly know fully what I was getting into. but I knew I wanted to do it. I knew it was going to be good for me, and it was something that I needed to do in my life. Some point, might as well do it sooner. And it just felt like now was the time. So the structure of the meditation, the retreat itself, there's concentration that they call it anapana, and you're focusing on the breath. You're focusing on a sensation of your breathing on your nose, sensation in this area of your nose, including your upper lip, and you're slowly shifting from paying attention to your breathing, to paying attention to the sensation that the breathing's creating, to paying attention to sensation that's not created by your breathing. So they're taking you through this arc of training your awareness, honing it into this sharp tool of awareness that can then be used in the actual Vipassana meditation itself, which I guess this guy Goenka is the teacher. He's no longer alive, but they have recordings of him. He calls it Vipassana. So that's like I guess it's the Indian or Burmese permutation of pronunciation of it.
Yeah.
Vipassana. And then the last part of it is on the last day is metta, which is loving kindness. So then it's first it's honing our awareness so we can do it at all.
Yeah.
Then it's doing the actual Vipassana, which is a body scan. You go through your body from head to toe to head, and you're taking parts of it, and you're feeling the sensation that's created. And you're then doing that for your whole body, so you're trying to cover it. And then on the very last day, then you're taking this beautiful state that you're in, and you're wishing love to the world, to yourself, using that as a platform to bring more love and compassion into the world. So those are the arc of the 10 days. Is first 3 days are just the concentration meditation. The next 6-ish days are the Vipassana, and then the last day is metta.
Cool. Okay. So, thank you for that. When we were chatting, I thought it was fascinating that you have 12 hours of scheduled meditation per day. Not only that, your whole day is laid out for you in a schedule. 12 days, 10 full days. And, when we were together preparing for this interview, I asked you very detailed breakdown. And, I want to share that with the audience. So the day starts at 4 a.m. and you have half an hour to get your shit together. And then the first meditation starts at 4:30. And then it's 2 hours of meditation on your own, right? And then, or you can be on your own, or you could be in the group, in the, meditation hall. And if you're in the meditation hall, the last 30 minutes, is basically them playing a recording of Goenka chanting. And, you don't chant with him, but you continue your meditation. And then it's breakfast, and you get an hour and a half. And from what I recall, you chose to eat in half an hour and then take an hour's worth of nap, right? Followed by 3 hours more of meditation. First, in a group setting, and then 2 hours on your own. And so basically the theme that's emerging is group sit versus, meditate on your own. And then lunch at 11, which was a simple lunch for 2 hours. And again, you would eat in half an hour and then go nap for an hour and a half. Followed by, at 1, meditation on your own for 1.5 hours. and then an hour of group sit, right? Then followed by almost another hour and a half on your own. And then at 5, there's a dinner break, but only for the people for whom it's their first time. Because if you have experience with Vipassana, you don't get dinner, or you're discouraged from eating. And even with the meals that you get before, you are told that only satiate yourself, only eat to 75% of what would be considered full for you.
Yeah.
Right? And then
And the dinner for the new students is just fruit.
it's just fruit. Thank you. Thank you. Just fruit, you know? And then you get an hour for that, followed by a group sit at 6, followed by a discourse for an hour, and then, some more like meditation instructions. And then it's lights out at 9. And then you start the whole cycle.
Like 9:30.
9:30.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you start the whole cycle at 4 the next day.
Yeah.
So what was it like for you to have that much of your life just spoken for, number one, and then number two, the food situation, right? Do you have any thoughts to share on that?
Yeah. Well, first off, it really only works if you trust it.
Yeah.
Like if you do it. That's something I had to commit to on like this second day, where I was like, wow, like if I'm not actually just treating this like the most important thing, to just follow the schedule, follow the suggestions,
Yeah.
then I'm going to be miserable this entire experience. I'm not going to get anything out of it. And it's going to be resistance and friction. It's going to suck. And to be clear, it sucked already. So it would just be like sucked and a waste of time.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, for this to work, I have to commit.
Yeah.
4:30, I'm up, I'm meditating. And I was really surprised at how easy it was to get up at 4. Like if they have somebody coming around with a bell and your roommates are getting up, or sometimes. I had one roommate that would sleep and one roommate that would get up, and I was so grateful for him. So I'm like, okay, that's the guy that I want to take inspiration from. He's up, I'm up.
Hell yeah.
And I would go in to the meditation hall because I knew that if I stayed in my room, they give you a choice for the ones that you're meditating on your own. You can do it in your room or you can do it in the meditation hall. And I knew that because of the first 2 days I tried to meditate. Actually, the first day I tried to meditate in my room, I fell asleep. And not because I was like trying really hard to meditate and then I fell asleep. It was just so enticing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could stay awake. So I committed. I'm like, okay.
Learn my lesson.
Yeah, exactly. It's a given. I just took it as a fact that if I was going to meditate in my room, I was going to sleep.
Yeah.
So I decided I'm either meditating and I'm going to do it in the meditation hall.
Yeah.
Where there's other people sitting up. I'm not going to lay down in the meditation hall. I'm going to be like poked.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to like make sure I'm not doing that. But if I'm going to sleep, then I should just sleep.
Yeah.
And just be honest with myself. I'm going to my room, I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
So I really appreciated the rigidity. I've never done like military boot camp or any of these things where there's a lot of discipline and rigidity. So I never had that in my life.
Yeah.
Except maybe school, which I've never had it in an environment where I really cared and wanted to follow the schedule. Like I put myself into this. It wasn't like when I'm in high school, it's kind of like I'm forced to. I don't have agency yet, really. I didn't choose to kind of like enroll in high school, but this course I chose to enroll in. So I'm like, thank you for the structure. I'm like agreeing for you to force me into practice,
Yeah.
force me into learning this and being disciplined. Uh, so it was hard driving, and I was really grateful for it. It's like the whole point. And the food situation at first, I had some. It wasn't that bad for me. The food, yeah. I I've gone through periods in my life where I haven't eaten that much. So I've already like had exposure to skipping meals, and I really value not craving food. So it was like another one of those gifts.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, thank you for this gift you're kind of like forcing on me, that I'm agreeing for you to force on me.
Yeah. And that's interesting, that you had this predisposition, because I think for the average American, right, or the average human, really, in this day and age, we're so food centric, right? And one of the things that I didn't even mention to you all is very basic food. Like breakfast is oatmeal and like fruit compote, and lunch is, rice and beans or rice and lentils. And you just did it for 10 days, but this is what some people choose to live, their entire lives this way on. And so, yeah.
And it was there was salad. Every day there was salad. But yeah, it was pretty simple.
Yeah.
And there was a couple days where they had like chips and guac.
Special days. Okay. So let's dive into it, shall we? When we were chatting, you mentioned to me that the first day was very hard. So, can you please paint a detailed picture? Tell us a story of the struggles of your first day.
Ooh, I tell you what. I like I said, I had a meditative practice.
Yeah.
I'd been meditating daily for a year at that point, and first introduced to it 3 years ago, 3 years prior. And man, my mind was a mess. That's like the best way I could describe it, is like I was living in my bedroom and I thought it was clean and everything is organized. And then it's like my eyes opened up for the first time and I'm like, wow, there's shit everywhere. There's like thoughts flying through and cravings pulling me in all directions and aversion. And it's just like, I thought I was pretty centered, and sitting there for that first day, trying to sit there for 12 hours a day, every sit, I couldn't turn my mind off. There was like constantly things coming through, and I'm like, man, there's nothing to do for the next 10 days. Keep in mind, they take your phone and your electronics and your books and your journal and your keys and your wallet, and they lock it in a box. So there's nothing to do. There's no thing to figure out. If I have a thought about somebody and there's nothing I can do with anything that I figure out or think about. There's nothing to do with it. for the next 10 days, there's nothing to do with any of it. I can't write it down. I can't text somebody. I can't check anything. I can't read, and like learn or entertain myself. So I'm like, why am I having these thoughts? They're pointless. And it's just incessant noticing these thoughts about people that I want to connect with more and my business that I want to make progress in and trying to figure out monetary strategies and thinking about decorating my room. And then that's just some thoughts. And then like sitting there, for that first day, I just constantly had this feeling of like, I should get up. Like it wasn't a thought, it was a feeling. It was just like, I don't want to be here.
Restlessness.
Yeah, restlessness, like uncomfortable, like this like somatic pull of, and it wasn't like leave the meditation retreat. It was just like get up. Like my system wanted stimulation of something.
And movement.
Wanted
to move that energy.
Yeah.
All that pent up energy.
Yeah, I was just flying around my body in like a boat on the ocean sort of way where it's like moving me and I'm not really like aware of it. I'm just trying to like drive my boat,
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. So you've had a rough first day.
Yeah, I can say more about that first day.
Sure.
Which is like that was the most intense. Like it's starting to fade a little bit now, like in the memory of it, but like I just remember like it felt like hell. It felt excruciating. It felt like harrowing. And all I was doing was sitting. I was just being with myself. And it was like the most fucking painful thing I had experienced in a long time. And then the next day it was like that first day was like 80 out of, on a scale of 1 to 10, it was like an 80. And then the next day it was like, okay, a little bit. Now we can go back to like the normal crazy intensity. That first day was like unimaginably intense.
Wow. Because you've never done anything like that before.
Yeah.
Wow. So, at this point, we're in day 3 or day 4. And you mentioned Aditana. So tell us a story of what Aditana is and how you decided on your own volition, nobody told him, to take things into high gear.
Yeah.
To hit that turbo boost button and paint us a picture of the agony that you felt.
Totally. Yeah. So we get past the concentration meditation.
Yeah.
Anapana. We get into the actual Vipassana. So we're like midway through day 4. And I'd heard friends talk about these retreats before. And that's the reason I ended up going on it, because I had a couple friends who really had profound experiences, and they did multiple, and they would go back. And one friend said he can't wait to go back to India because first thing he's going to do is a Vipassana meditation retreat. So I was like, okay, at least some people get a lot of it. And one of these friends was telling me this story of this woman who was sitting next to her, and she was so serious about it that she was drooling. She was drooling on her clothes during the meditation.
Wow.
It's like, holy shit. And of course, the meditation retreat is silent, so it's like you tell these stories at the end, the last day you can talk.
Yeah.
And I just thought, wow, that's intense, that's crazy. I filed it away, didn't think about
it. Yeah.
And then I think maybe like I was also influenced by the story of the Buddha, Gautama Buddha, who sat under the Bodhi tree and didn't move until he was enlightened.
Yeah.
So that's the story.
Yeah.
And of course, he had lots of experience in lots of different practices at that point.
Yeah.
And they introduced then on day 4.5, in addition to the Vipassana meditation, they introduced this aditana, which is strong determination. And they say the three things that you're supposed to do are don't open your eyes, don't uncross your legs, and don't open your hands. So I think the idea for most people is you're sitting here with a strong determination, and because you're not moving your hands, you're not like scratching your head, but you're also allowed to still kind of like shift your posture a little bit. But I took it, for some reason, I'm just like, this retreat is so fucking intense already. I just want to break through. I want to get to the other side. I want it to stop being intense. So I'm going to front load all the intensity.
Yeah. And I'm going to pile it on more so I can get through it faster.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I'm not going to move a single muscle. I'm not going to swallow. I'm not going to cough. I'm not going to sneeze.
I'm definitely not going to fart.
I'm not even going to like move my fingers. And I did. And so the group sits are where you're supposed to do the aditana, the strong determination, not kind of like opening your eyes or changing your posture dramatically. And so I just took each of those and I, did my version.
Yeah.
And I did it for the 3 sits after that were very excruciating, but very illuminating. So it was like the experience. First off, I was having like body dysmorphia because I wasn't getting my like brain, nervous system wasn't getting feedback. We kind of have this thing where we get motor feedback from moving around, and we have this thing called interoception and proprioception. Proprioception is the sense of where our body is. And by not moving, my body was slowly drifting. It's like if you had a self-driving car that didn't have any cameras and it only had a map of the city and it was trying to drive on a straight road or something. Eventually it would start to drift. It wouldn't know that it's drifting if it didn't have any cameras. It would just think, well, I'm just still driving straight. I'm still driving straight. So that's what's happening with my body is my limbs were starting to like get confused. Like I knew in my head, because I was actually sitting like this with a bench. And I knew that my hands were down here, but it felt like my hands like started doing weird things. At one point, I was like, my hands felt like they were up here, I'm like, that's not right. And again, I'm like trying not to move. So if I moved a single muscle, then my brain would, and I experimented with this at the end of the meditation, is I would slowly move and see what happens. And it was like in my head, my hands up here, but I know my hands down here. And then I would I would like try to move my hand down because I knew that it would run into my leg because my brain thought it was up here, and then it was like it faded into this other version as it slowly got feedback. Yeah, it was really trippy.
Wow.
So that's like the cool part of what was happening.
And keep in mind, there's no substances involved.
Correct.
You're not under the influence of any substances.
No.
Yeah.
No. All I'm doing is not moving
Yeah.
for an hour. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
For your body, like your whole mind to get totally fucked.
Yeah.
And start hallucinating weird shapes. And so then the other thing that was happening was, and this was the excruciating part.
Yeah.
I would notice an itch or something. Like let's say I would notice a sensation right here. It was a sensation that caused me to want to itch it. That's what we call like an itch.
Yeah.
And because I was not, like I was so concentrated and so determined to not move a muscle that I would just run, my like psyche would run into this immediate wall of, this is what we need to do, this is what we need to do, this is what we need to do. And I wasn't doing it because I was so determined.
We need to itch, we need to itch, we need to itch, we need to itch. Like rhythm, like a drum. We need to itch, we need to itch, we need to itch. Itch, itch, itch. We need to itch, we need to itch.
And then what happened is my body would, like, the best way I can make sense of it is like my body got pissed. And my whole like face and chest would get like super hot and uncomfortable. And it was like, no, no, no. So it was crazy. It was like the part that wasn't, it was compounding. It was the itch itself, the sensation, which can be uncomfortable. Then it was the compulsion to itch it, to move in response to a stimuli. And then it was the response within me that was like happening because I wasn't doing that thing. Because I wasn't itching it, my body, like, I don't know if this is like true in the sense of like it was actually a response to that, but the way that I make sense of it is, yeah, that it was pissed off or something, that it was like, no, you're gonna itch and I'm gonna make it more uncomfortable until you move. And I was like, I'm not gonna move. But man, it was so intense.
But there was a breakthrough, wasn't there?
That's right.
So tell us a story of your breakthrough on day 5.
Yeah.
Tell us.
It was like a switch that had happened. I went from these like first 3 sessions of super intense. These sensations were coming up, and the intense part again was the response that would happen when I wouldn't move. Like my knees were hurting, my back was hurting, and my traps were hurting, and that was like the first layer. And then there was this second layer of the like flare-ups, the super uncomfortableness of my body of not moving each time that I felt an urge to move. So it was that second layer that was the intensity. And then it just stopped. On day 5, like halfway through, I just had a sit where it was the same thing I was doing before. I was not moving. And that second layer, it just stopped happening. I was able to take a stimulus, like a sensation, and not do the response that my body was conditioned for 36 years of my life to do. And then it was just okay. I was able to just have the determination I'm not going to move, and then just for the next hour not move. And I felt like I finally, after 5 days, could get to the actual purpose of the meditation. Up until that point, I was fighting myself.
Wow.
To even sit still, to even not scratch myself or have these compulsions, to not feel this urge to go somewhere else, to not keep having my mind wandering and noticing, oh yeah, I'm not doing the meditation anymore. So it's like all these other things I was up to that point was wrestling with. Just I was wrestling with myself.
Yeah.
Wasn't even until this point doing, like, I was doing the meditation, but I couldn't really like actually then progress in it until I got through these other challenges.
Amazing breakthrough. So there was a mantra, just for those of you who might not know, is a series of words that one feels inspired to or chooses to repeat within themselves to help use as a tool to cultivate and grow focus within one's meditation, to be able to transcend the body, transcend the mind, however you see the ultimate goal of meditation, right? And there was a mantra that emerged for you out of nowhere. It's very much your own, right? Just me, just here. So if you could please paint us a picture of the circumstances leading up to and how the mantra emerged for you.
Yeah. I started having these realizations about the types of things that were happening, the types of distractions that were happening. And my goal was to do the meditation, to meditate, to be present. And so the first thing I was noticing was I was with somebody else. I was going somewhere else. I was thinking about something else. I was not only was I not present and not doing the exercise, you know, you get lost in thought,
Yeah.
daydream, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, go back to your thing. But I was having this slightly deeper realization, which is like, I'm being with somebody else right now. And there's no one else here. I was thinking about my sister, and my sister wasn't there. I was thinking about friends, and they You weren't there. And yeah, there's like other people in the meditation hall, but I don't know any of them. We don't. We're not. We're actually not even supposed to make eye contact. So not only is it silent, but you're not supposed to make gestures to anyone. You're not supposed to make hand signals. You're supposed to treat it as if you're on a solo retreat. So I wouldn't even like thank people or hold the door for them or look them in the eye. So I was trying to take that on. But that the crux of it was like I was being with the people in my life. It was like being with this idea of somebody. And so the first part of it started to emerge of it's just me here. There's no one else here. Why am I thinking about my sister? Why do I keep thinking about her? I mean, yeah, of course, this is great. You think about people you care about. But I'm on a 10-day meditation retreat to meditate and to tame my mind and discover and deepen the benefits of this style of meditation. And so I was just like, come on, man. It's just me. And then so that was the first part of it.
Yeah.
And I started noticing a similar pattern of I kept thinking about being back home, thinking about my room, thinking about projects that I'm working on, and forgetting that I'm in a meditation hall. I'm not being physically present. I'm like being somewhere else in my mind. So it's like, okay, I'm here. I'm just here. There's nothing else. It's just me. It's just now. It's not the past, not the future. It's just here. And those aren't exactly grammatically correct, but
Who the fuck cares?
for me, because it was simple enough, and that's what matters.
Yeah. Wow. What a great, 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 great. To be like Tigger. It's great. Or is it Tiger?
Yeah.
Do y'all know what I'm talking about? Tony the Tiger, Frosted Flakes. For our audience members in India, look up Tony the Tiger, Kellogg's, Frosted Flakes, and you'll know what we're talking about. Thank you for that. Yeah, what a great, sort of hype, sort of way to end our conversation and this magical time that we've been able to share together and with the audience and go through so much of your life, right? And I just want to say thank you so much for your vulnerability, for your authenticity, for stopping me to add more details. I really appreciate that. I think you've done an amazing job of painting a detailed picture for us. And I know the audience is going to appreciate that. So thank you very much for your presence.
Yeah.
And I hope that today's episode has brought you some new insight into yourself through Kyle's experience. And doesn't mean that, you have to go to a Vipassana. I mean, if you have the means, the ability, the time, by all means. But I think I know for myself that just through Kyle's presence and him doing such a great job of recollecting his experience, that I can walk away with enough to make this worth my time. And I hope, it is my sincerest hope, that you feel the same as well. And it is with that that I wish you adieu. And till the next time, I wish you love and light. Lion over and out. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Get Out of Your Comfort Zone series. I hope it moved you and inspired you if you are feeling stuck with something in your life. If you would like to further connect with our guest, please see their contact in the description. Please consider taking a moment to rate this podcast. Please also consider showing us some love on your Instagram story. You can find our info in the episode description. Until the next episode, I wish you infinite love and light. Thank you so much for tuning in.